Welcome to the Exit Strategy, your no bullshit guide to divorce with the experienced attorneys from New Direction Family Law. Unfiltered discussions to help you move from victim to victorious and from bitter to better.
Hi, everyone. It's Elizabeth Stephenson with New Direction Family Law.
And I'm Sarah Hink, Elizabeth's law partner at New Direction Family Law and co-criminal in the podcast world. If we are criminals, probably not. I guess we're probably pretty PG. And of course, we have Jen Bordeaux boarding us, joining us today.
I'm boarded here at the podcast. Yes, it's great to have both of you back here in the studio together. It's been a little while.
Yes, it has, since all three of us have been here together.
It has been. I forgot about that. Yeah. Been crazy busy.
Yeah.
Lots of people getting divorced, separated.
Yes. Court hearings.
Being held in contempt.
And from what I understand, nobody wants to settle. You guys have been in court like crazy recently.
Yeah.
What is wrong with people lately?
It's just
something in the water. I don't know. Something in the water. I don't know.
Just they're all narcissists, right?
Well, true.
Every single one of them.
It is a buzzword.
So, in pivoting from that, it's June. Today is what? June 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And June is the start of Pride Month. We just celebrated the 1st of June the other day and continue it on throughout June. So today's episode, we're just going to talk about a little bit about, family law and how it relates to same-sex marriage and any kind of relationship that would fall into this general realm of marital laws. Also, a little update from the Court of Appeals that came through just a month ago or two. And just kind of go from there, just a general overview.
So as a general principle, Ms. Hink.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Professor.
We know that same-sex people can get married now in North Carolina. Now. And so did they have different laws, different things apply to them that wouldn't apply to a heterosexual couple?
No, the laws, they should apply the same. And I think, when we talk about the case today that we're going to talk about, you can see a little issue with that. But generally, no, it applies the same as a marital couple. Okay, you have assets, division of assets, spousal support. So if there's one spouse who makes more money than the other, then there could be alimony, custody, if there's an adopted child or biological child, and that's where things get a little bit more sticky. But generally, it is the same, and it's been about 10 years since it's been legal in North Carolina to be married for same-sex couples. I had an interesting question recently of okay, well, if we were together for 10 years before that, but we couldn't get married, could we go back to kind of backtrack it to when we would get married?
Retro stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, no, absolutely not. That's not allowed.
Seems fair though.
It certainly seems fair,
especially if we start, quote unquote, with the premise of half the length of the marriage for spousal support.
Right.
Well, it doesn't seem fair. They couldn't have been together 30 years and been married for 2. That seems very unfair. But
we're not a law of fairness here.
Well, true. My client said.
No, and then it goes to a common law marriage, and we're not a common law marriage state
either. That's true.
So,
and what exactly, just for listeners, because I think we've had this on a frequently asked question episode before, but somebody just recently asked me about it too. What exactly is common law marriage for those that may not know, for any listeners that may not know, or watchers?
Well,
hi, YouTube.
We're only licensed in North Carolina, so
we're attorneys, but we're not your attorney.
No. So don't listen to us. I'm gonna tap into my general knowledge. Is basically
what I remember for the bar exam.
Yeah, and it's really state specific as to how many years you've had to
live
together. I think there's definitely more factors you have to prove in order to be common law marriage. I think some places you can fill out forms. It's a whole bunch of stuff that we can't talk about it, and it doesn't matter in North Carolina.
If somebody was in a common law marriage state that that does recognize it, and they move here,
no,
all right,
nope.
I think South Carolina. I think South Carolina is. So if you're listening in South Carolina, you're getting divorced. Stay in South Carolina.
Yeah, pretty much.
Derailed that a little bit. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Yes, a lot of, everything is pretty much the same, except for, like I said before, the children, that comes into an issue with kind of how the laws are written in North Carolina. And there was a recent case coming from the Court of Appeals about a family. They were married, I believe.
People they were not married.
Not married. So 2 women, same-sex couple, mom number 1. Well, in the case, they refer to
Sure, it's a biological
mother.
Yeah.
and the other female's partner. So I
Right.
guess there's no mom number 1, mom number 2.
No.
I think there should be mom number
Oh,
1,
yeah.
number 2.
Absolutely.
That goes to the heart of this
I
case.
know.
But biological mother had a sperm donor, and they proceeded to live as a unit, the 3 of them, mom, partner, and child. Eventually, they separate and they file for custody. So partner files for custody of the minor child. The court says, yes, this partner has been acting as a parent, is close with the minor child. Yes, you can have shared custody with mom. So then biological mom says, well, okay, then I'm going to file for child support. And the court says, nope, that's not going to happen here because partner is not biological mother and is not biological father. And they go back to the reading of the statute to say, well, no, it's not gender neutral. It is very specific. Mother and father. Biological parents are the only ones that can be ordered to pay child support unless you agree to it outside of that through a agreement contract between each other. So that was a new case, and it's kind of like it goes back to the fairness. Well, that doesn't make sense. You're sharing custody of this minor child. The court has already determined that
You could share custody,
that you're
but right.
a parent, that you've been one of 2 parents in this child's life, but for your sex and gender, then you would have to pay child support.
Right, and it's interesting to me because when you read like the alimony statute, it says spouse.
Right.
I think custody says parent,
Yes.
but it appears that 1530.4 says mother, father,
Mother, father.
which is very and an easy fix to me.
Yes. And the court stuck hard to
Oh,
that. They did not want to move. And
Of course they did.
And I don't know if they did that to kind of like, I don't know, make things hard for certain kind of people. Looking at the makeup of the court.
Well,
I shouldn't
that's
say that.
well, you could say that, or it could be we're going to put this out. Well, I'm sure with the makeup of the court we have, they didn't, but we're going to
Yeah.
put this out, and somebody y'all pay attention and get this fixed.
Yeah, and that's where they kind of punted it to the General Assembly to say this is a problem we might run into in the future. Thinking back to what this couple could have done differently, the child was not adopted by the non-biological parent.
Right?
So that could have been something to help this situation and adopted the child and been the legal parent.
Right.
And just any third party can seek and ask for custody. Of course, you have to prove some things in court that parent's unfit. And in this case, they didn't have to show that there was unfitness
Right.
because they kind of stood in the shoes of what would be 2 parents.
Correct.
So,
Right. So custody wasn't really an issue. It was more the child support. So I know that we have prenuptial agreements, but I don't know if maybe a cohabitation agreement. I don't know if
a parenting agreement.
or something that can address child support.
Yeah.
While they're I don't know if while they're together, but at least if they're contemplating
And
separating, that's a
yeah, I
problem.
think there was a lot of, the one parent who sought custody and refused to pay the child support.
Right.
Everyone kind of looking down at that person like, what you doing? Like that's not right. That's a child that you apparently love, you want custody of, you should pay for support
Well,
to your
we
other
see that a
parent.
lot in heterosexual
Oh, yes.
couples too.
No. Yes. It's
Unfortunately.
not fair, right?
Right.
She's going to go buy shoes with
Right.
it.
Hey guys, it's Jen with New Direction Family Law, and if you yourself have been through a divorce or you know someone that's contemplating a divorce, then you know how important it is to make sure that you know your legal rights or your friend knows their legal rights and options to help develop the best plan for them and their family moving forward. At New Direction Family Law, we have over 30 years of combined experience protecting the rights of our clients in family law matters. We aggressively advocate, we aggressively support, and we absolutely educate our clients to achieve the best possible outcomes. So if you or someone you know are facing these questions or contemplating separation or divorce, give us a call to schedule an initial consultation today. You can reach us at 919-719-3470 or reach out to us via our website at newdirectionfamilylaw.com.
So find out who your representative is, call them up, email them. That's the way things get changed.
Yeah, that is how things get changed. And you're thinking about children, and every couple, no matter how they're made up, if they want to have children, can seek options for that. Talk to an attorney about, adoption. There's insemination contracts you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And all sorts of things for preparing for that. And if you're going to have a surrogate, there's a surrogate contract.
Right.
Just making sure that everything is done in a contract and with an attorney. So if you find yourself down the road and you're separating from your partner, then, they weren't even married, so breaking up or what have you,
Right.
that it's covered.
Agreed.
So you were saying a prenup in this situation wouldn't have even worked.
Well, they didn't get
Yes.
married.
Well, they didn't get married, but,
Oh, okay,
but I
fair.
mean, you can do, but married folks can do, you can contract between each other, and they're not married, so I'm assuming they can contract about
Yeah.
whatever they wanted to. The
hmm
statute doesn't apply to them, but you can't contract about in a prenup, or I don't even think in a postnup about child support.
Yeah. I mean, it all goes to the child. That's supposed to be the focus.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I don't
So,
know. They could have done some contract before this while they were still together that says we're each going to share in expenses for this child or something.
right.
You know, but that's the only thing I can think of, and I don't even know if that's against public policy.
Yeah. And there was a dissent to this case, and they pulled out one of the big cases that we all focus on in custody, Price v. Howard.
Uh-huh.
And it's, in that case, they said it's clear that duty of support should accompany the right to custody in cases such as this one. That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, I can't. Other than mother father, what's the difference? There's no difference. That's what's
No.
crazy to me.
Yeah. And I think, there's 2-parent households, but then I know that there's these days, there's polyfamilies.
Polyamorous.
Then you got three-parent households.
Household.
And then who's paying who? I don't know. So there is a little bit of a slippery slope there into, how is that going to work? I have no idea how that would work.
Well, I think just as a parent, ethically,
hmm
you should be paying something,
Yeah.
to the other parent. I don't know what their custody schedule was. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
said in here or anything, but what the cost? I mean, if you're having custody, pay for them.
Your child
Correct.
that you love and care for.
Yeah, it's literally called child support.
Child
Support your
support.
child.
Yeah, but this is a great example of, some issues we run into with same-sex relationships and children and adoption and custody and now child support. So it's definitely important to talk to an attorney if you're at all considering, adopting a child, having a child this way, and just making sure that you know what could happen in the future.
Correct.
And because I know we've had another attorney in our office that had a case like this. I don't know if you guys have or not, but you kind of talked about insemination, which made me think of, surrogacy.
Mhm.
And we had, have had same-sex couples come to us to draw up surrogacy contracts with I guess technically the biological parent. So that was not going to be raising the child. So what are considerations there that maybe same-sex couples need to be thinking about, why it's important if you're going to have, so let's say it's a gay couple that is 2 men that are going to be having a female that's going to be the surrogate. What's important to consider there, or why is that important, so to speak, in looking at a contract like that?
Well, you definitely have to have a contract, and then you go get a judgment. It's this whole process.
Right.
And it's going to be the same for a same-sex couple that uses a surrogate or a heterosexual couple that uses surrogate. I mean, there's just a lot of options these days with infertility issues with women too.
Right.
So
But it's just adoption process is the same across the board,
yeah,
because my son was adopted. So the person giving birth to the child has to give up parental rights to that child. So that's one thing you want to make sure is
yes,
contracted for, and that sort of thing. And it's my understanding that, you can pay for expenses and that sort of thing, but it's not like you can buy this baby,
no,
like an ordinary amount of money to pay this person to do this baby. It has to be, a contract based around the expenses and that sort of thing. So it's just adoption is statutory, and you miss one period, one comma, whenever, you could have a problem.
yes,
So go see an
yes,
attorney for sure.
yes. Don't do any back pages adoptions. That's not good.
No.
Yeah, and we have a great community and support in at least Wake County
Right.
for the community. I know we get a lot of people that are looking to change names, and that process can be a little confusing. So there are resources, Jen, if you want to talk about any of the resources for what
Yeah. So specifically here in Wake County, which is Raleigh and surrounding towns, which is where we are located, there's a LGBTQIA plus community here that they have different clinics and things like that to help with name changes. And of course, we've represented folks in name changes. And to my knowledge, a lot of our surrounding counties also have the community support like that and centers like that as well. I've seen a lot of that recently. Obviously, Instagram and threads and everything else is just all rainbowed out. And it's beautiful. I love it. So yeah, definitely look into what your local community, if you're not, in this direct area or another state, what your local community I love to see that there are more support centers like this popping up to help provide those resources. And then obviously, if it's related to family law, custody, or
Yeah.
prenup, or whatever it may be, we got you covered too.
For parents too. And we see that in some of our custody cases where there might be a minor child who is going through, I don't know, either a gender transition or just, finding more about their sexuality. And one parent's being supportive of this, the other parent is not being supportive of that. So it shows up in a lot of different areas in family law. And it's good to have support out there for children, for teenagers, and for adults.
Absolutely. And we're also, we've worked hard to build a network for the different needs of the folks that we're working with, whether they become clients or where their starting point of what they're looking for. And there are absolutely, to your point about, like gender transitions or anything related in that realm. And for the queer community, there are, definitely mental health professionals that focus on that and have strong supports around that, which is great. And we've definitely built a network of some folks in our area here too. So there are absolutely those resources. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them, and always happy to be of help if we can.
Yeah, reach out to them, vote, reach out to your General Assembly to make sure that laws are equal and accessible for all. And ain't that some
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to leave us a review. You can visit us at newdirectionfamilylaw.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at the exitstrategy_podcast or email us at exitstrategy@newdirectionfamilylaw.com. We'll be back next time with more no bullshit content about life, divorce, parenting, relationships, and everything in between.